Welcome to Local Matters. Today we begin with the multifaceted Mike Gioscia, radio personality, executive director of Plymouth Rock's events, and board of directors VP for Soule Homestead Education Center in Middleborough. Mike joined Julie via Zoom to talk about some outdoor music shows the nonprofit has upcoming. Julie?
Hi, Mike. Good to see you today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, you wear many, many hats, and one of them being the VP of the board of the Soule Homestead Education Center in Middleborough. Can you tell us about that, its mission, what you're doing, the events you're having? Go.
Sure. Soule is such a great place in Middleborough, Massachusetts. We have about 125 acres of open space for kids' education and organic farming. And basically, our goal is to be a nonprofit that helps kids' education, even though we have plenty of adult classes as well. And that's through traditional crafts and cultural events, kids' environmental programs, organic farming classes. It's just truly a great community spot. And I got involved years ago just bringing my kids over and walking them around and just thinking, what is this amazing spot that's, not too far away from my house, and throwing them in the stroller and just taking them around the property and seeing the animals. And I ended up spending so much time there. They finally said, you should be on the board. I said, I don't know what that means, but, I've learned pretty quickly, and I've been there for a few years, and it's just, again, like I said, a wonderful local spot for families.
So is it actually a working farm as well as an education center?
So we lease land to local farmers. So right now we have two organic farmers on the property. We have a sheepdog junction, which is a farmer who trains sheepdogs on the property, and then we have other people who lease land for cows, chickens, and other stuff like that too. So it's a working farm. It's always busy over there.
Yeah. Now you have a few events coming up in the next couple of weeks. Can you talk about those?
Sure. We have two music events coming up. Saturday the 26th with Mountain Weekend and also Jake Hill performing, and then coming up on October the 17th, we have a tribute band called Hey Blondie. That's a Blondie tribute band, and those shows will be for. We have a maximum of 50 people right now. Obviously, they can only have 50 people outside at the farm at a time, so we'll only be selling about 40 tickets for each of those shows. So it's very intimate, and all the proceeds go to our great education programs at the farm. And we also have a cow plop coming up. I don't know if you know what that is.
What is a cow plop?
A cow plop. Picture a big bingo board set up, but it's set up in a field, basically like with spray paint, kind of with squares.
Yeah.
Then you let the cow into the field, and wherever it plops, there's the winner.
Oh, that's hysterical.
That's October the 3rd. And again, you can find out about all these events either at our Facebook page, Soule Homestead, and that's again Soule with an E, Soule, or you can go to soulehomestead.com for all the information.
Excellent. That sounds like a blast. Now, you're also the executive director of another nonprofit, Plymouth Rock's Events. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Plymouth Rock's Events I started the nonprofit as a vehicle to raise money for local school music programs. Primarily, we've been working with the Plymouth school system since we started, and we've created an education fund, a scholarship fund for kids who can't afford private music lessons to get those music lessons. Sometimes kids in the school setting, you're playing with a lot of other kids, and you might kind of get lost along the way. And this is to keep kids involved in music that want to be, but maybe they just need that extra private one-on-one lesson situation. So we've created the scholarship for that. And we're looking forward to 2021. Like a lot of very small nonprofits, 2020 has been pretty rough, but we'll be back. We'll be back in 2021.
Right. Because music especially is very, very tough with the pandemic and with social distancing. Either singing or playing instruments, clearly you're using your breath to do that. and that's kind of a no-no in a public setting or without social distancing. So I understand how that's really been curtailed, and we're with you. 2021 and a vaccine can't come fast enough. Lastly, in your spare time, you bring music to the masses on WATD Monday through Thursday with your show called Americana-Rama. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So, live local radio I do from WATD in Marshfield, Monday through Thursday night. I start at 10 o'clock, goes till 1 a.m., so it's for you Nighthawks 4 nights a week. And it's Americana-Rama, so I do a lot of Americana, country rock, alt country, roots, bluegrass, things like that. But I also use the Rama term, which means I can kind of go off the rails and do a whole bunch of other stuff and do a lot of classic rock stuff like Tom Petty and Neil Young, Black Crowes, things like that. So it's a lot of fun. I love doing radio. It's what brought me to Boston, and I still have my foot in it.
Yep, as a lot of us around here know. And one last question I have for you, Mike, just on a personal level. From this whole pandemic, what, if any, do you see as a silver lining?
I think it's taking stock in the things that are really important. I think we're always, all of us, so bogged down and busy with so many things, and we can't spend a lot of the time that we want to on the things that are most important. But I think we're learning that you never know what's going to happen. So make sure you're spending time with the things that make you happy, and the stuff that creates anxiety or that's bothering you, just push that off to the side, because we have enough anxiety with other things. We don't need to create our own. So be true to yourself and do the things that are important to you.
Agreed. Thank you so much. It was so wonderful to talk to you, and you're just a multifaceted guy, and we'll talk to you again, no doubt. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Julie and Mike. For information on music at the farm and other upcoming events, visit the Soule Homestead Facebook page or website. On September 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m., join the Plymouth No Place for Hate Committee and Gretchen Cook Anderson for The Inclusivist Life, an intergenerational conversation to guide anti-racist learning and action. Presenter Gretchen Cook Anderson is an award-winning director of diversity recruiting and advising at IES Abroad, and this Zoom workshop will focus on the power of conversation about race and anti-racism between varying ages and identities. This free workshop will be interactive, and No Place for Hate is looking for 5 pairs of volunteer participants to respond to imagery and converse briefly with each other live on screen. If you're interested, email npfhchair@gmail.com. Visit the Plymouth No Place for Hate Facebook page to learn more and to register for the program's Zoom link. The South Shore Community Action Council is a vital resource for families fighting poverty and hunger, and they need your help. The Sunrise Rotary Club of Plymouth invites you to Stuff a Cruiser on Saturday, September 26th, outside of Walmart at Colony Place Road in Plymouth. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., help fill a police cruiser or 2 with food donations to get the shelves at the Community Action Council filled up to be dispersed back into our community. For more information, contact event coordinator Howard Kendall at howard.kendall@comcast.net. Lauren Green is a mom, a South Shore resident, and an essential worker. She works for a local grocery store, helping to provide the food and supplies necessary to sustain us. Lauren spoke to the local scene about how she's adapting during this time.
It first hit me that this is something we were going to be living with for a long time. I work at a grocery store, and I was shopping in order, I think, at night, and I just saw all the empty shelves for probably the second week in a row. It didn't look like it was gonna change. So yeah, it was probably like the second weekend when we just had completely empty shelves. Like, this is a movie, not gonna get any better anytime soon. I haven't been able to work as much because I have to be home with my kids because I can't really get a babysitter. I don't wanna, expose anyone else. So I had to switch my hours to work at night. a lot of things at work changed. I work in the home delivery department, so we shop for people, deliver food, and we only get maybe like 30 orders a day. On a Sunday, like 70, 80. And it went from that to like easily 90 plus orders a day, every single day. And, you know, through whenever there's a winter storm, the same thing happens. People freak out and they want their groceries and they want them delivered, and it's busy, crazy. It's over in a day and it's back to normal, but this was weeks and weeks and weeks of every day, 90 plus orders. In the beginning, it was really nerve-wracking. At this point, it's not so much with us, you know, wearing our masks and gloves and all that. But yes, in the beginning, we felt like we had to go through a desanitization process before walking in the house. You know, and it was just very, the unknown. You don't know. You know, you don't know if this person has it, if you have it, if, you know, you don't know. Thank God for the nice weather in summer, first of all. In the beginning, with all the rain, we were just basically home, to be honest with you. I felt very, like, crazy, and we watched a lot of movies. But once we got used to it and I embraced it and developed sort of a routine with the kids, and doing her schoolwork was a nightmare, but we got through that. After that, I think I developed more of a routine. And, you know, we get up, we eat breakfast, we'll go for a walk. My mom lives right by the beach, so we go to the beach. You know, we've been reading books more. I've been able to help my son with his speech. He was kind of having a hard time talking at first, and now he's up to 30, 40 words. So yeah, it's been good. I've been able to embrace these moments with my family and my kids that I'll never get back, you know? Once all restrictions are gone, I can't wait to send my kid on a school bus and go to school with all her friends and have her play soccer and not worry about a mask. And, you know, really about my kids enjoying their childhood, I feel like, is what I'm most excited for, because I feel like it's kind of been ripped away from them a little bit at this point. Yeah. This moment has definitely changed the way I think about life, because it's a reminder that anything can happen in an instant. Life can change in an instant. And to appreciate everybody around me and what I do have, and to just really be grateful for what I have and everybody's health around me. Thinking about something like this is happening, I feel like we've all been there, we've all thought of something like this happening. It's not as bad as I would think it would be, and as bad as it is, you know, we'll all be okay. I still believe we'll all be okay.
We're going to be okay. I like the way you think, Lauren. Thank you for sharing your story. Plymouth Patuxent is back with workshops to bring you into the next season, with a fall wreath workshop on Saturday, September 26th from 10 a.m. to 12. Beginning with willow branches, you'll choose from an autumn palette of foliage, grasses, acorns, and pine cones, creating your own customized harvest wreath to adorn your front door or mantle. Visit the Eventbrite page to register and learn more. The Duxbury Senior Center's Lifelong Learning Program is happy to offer 3 new classes for the fall semester via Zoom: The Poetry of Mary Oliver, The Poet's Corner 2, and The American Revolution: Causes, Battles, and Aftermath. Their award-winning program offers college-level courses that are stimulating and challenging, but have no papers to write or tests to take. Even better, these courses are open to all interested adults of all ages from all communities. Each course runs for 6 to 8 weeks, and the first fall class begins on September 21st. For class descriptions and schedules, visit duxburyseniorcenter.org. Erica is back with an update on the schools.
With schools opening back up this week and having new guidelines set in place, it can start to get a little confusing for students, knowing they can't practice the same habits that they've done in the past. Silver Lake Regional High School is releasing a series of PSAs to help students understand the new rules. So far, they have released 2 PSAs, a message from their nurse, Miss Svensson, and how to enter the building.
Good morning, Lakers. My name is Mrs. Svensson. I am the school nurse here at Silver Lake Regional High School. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you, and I'm glad that you're in the building. I'd like to review a few things with you that we need to always adhere to while you're in this building. There are the 3 things I think everybody knows that's very, very important. First off is you need to wear your mask at all times while you're in the building. You need to bring your own mask to school, all right? If you do something to the mask, if it gets wet, if it gets dirty or anything like that, I do have some masks here that I can give you for the day, but do remember that you should have your mask on at all times. When you're walking in the hallways, it needs to be on. There will be scheduled mask breaks from your teachers, and also when you're eating lunch, obviously you're not going to have your mask on, but all other times you really do need to be very aware of having your mask on, and that mask should cover your nose and your mouth. Okay. Also, the other thing, social distancing. Everybody knows this is very important. And while you're in this building, there are clear markers as to 6 feet. That is the thing that we're doing in this building, is everything is 6 feet apart. So try and be very cognizant and aware of where you are and who's walking in front of you and who's behind you, and try always to maintain that 6 feet of distance. And the third thing is hand hygiene. Always wash your hands as much as you possibly can. If you cannot get to soap and water, there is hand hygiene, there is hand sanitizer all over this building. Please use it as much as possible. Those 3 things are the most important things to remember while you're here at school, and it will help to keep everybody healthy and safe, and that's what we want to do. Other things, where is my office? In case you don't know, my office is on the 1st floor of this building. It is across from the art rooms, and that's where I am. The thing that will be a little bit different this year is my door will be locked, and I have to know who's coming to my office. So if you don't feel good in your classroom and you tell your teacher you have a headache, your teacher's going to say, could you just put your head down for 20 minutes and drink some water, and then see how you feel. The other thing, it's really important to drink your water. It's important to stay hydrated. So you certainly can do that through the day. All right, please do that. Bring your water bottle and keep it with you. Please don't share that water bottle with anybody, and always have that with you. Okay. So if you have to come and see me every day for a scheduled visit with me, I will be in touch with you to schedule that visit. If you are not feeling well and you really need to see me, your teacher will get in touch with me, and I will set a time when you can come down, depending on who's in my office. So you will be able to come down. I just need to know who's going to be here. Certainly we need to keep everybody 6 feet apart. So that's why. If you need to leave, I'll have to get in touch with a parent to make sure that it's okay for you to leave. All right. Also, in the vein of not feeling well, if you wake up in the morning and you don't feel well, please don't come to school. Okay. We really are trying to keep everybody safe. So tell your parent, tell whoever's in the house in the morning that you don't feel good and you should stay home. And if you have any of the symptoms that we look at, which is a fever over 100, which is a cough that is not related to anything else that might be going on with you, new loss of smell, okay? If you have shortness of breath, you can't seem to catch your breath, that's another thing that you need to look at. So if you have any of those symptoms, please tell a parent, and you certainly shouldn't come to school, but you need to pay attention to those symptoms, and possibly you need to be in touch with your doctor, okay? If you have any questions, please, you can email me, I can do that, or again, if you really have something you need to talk to me about, have your teacher send an e-pass, and I'll be happy to see you. Again, we just want everybody to be safe in the building, and that's what we're aiming for. I hope you all have a great year, and welcome back.
As soon as you get onto campus, you put your mask on. If you drive to school, please enter through the CT preschool entrance, and there's hand sanitizer by every door.
If you're getting dropped off, you can enter here at the main entrance. when you're coming off the bus, you're already going to have your mask on, so make sure you keep it on. You're going to be coming through these doors when you get off the bus.
Alrighty, at 7:15 when you come into the building, you have to report directly to your classroom.
Good morning, welcome to class. Come on in.
Hate to say it this year, there's no Dunkin' Donuts. Put it in the trash before you come to school. Alright, make sure you got a big book bag this year. But there's no lockers. You can't use them.
The full reopening and implementation plan can be found on their school's website. Pembroke High School also has some new rules and guidelines, and Principal Mark Talbot took the time to host a Q&A for parents and guardians who needed the clarification on some matters. Let's take a look at some of the things that they had to say.
And I'm hopeful right now, at this point, you all can see on my screen the cover slide to the presentation. Can I just get maybe a nodding head or a thumbs up or something from someone in the group there? Thank you very much, Ms. Holben. We are good to go. And so at that point, I'll begin talking through here. So I think it's wise to first and foremost discuss a couple of key terms here so that when I mention the concept of a hybrid model, everyone understands what it is that I'm talking about. So the hybrid model, of course, is the model for our reopening that was voted on by the school committee earlier this summer. And what that means is that our students will be using a combination of both in-person days and in remote learning from home. And so by in-person learning, I am talking about the days on which a cohort is physically in the building, learning in a traditional manner from teachers in our classroom with classmates. And then when we talk about remote learning, then anytime I mention that term, I'm talking about anytime that students are at home. And that does not always mean that we're online, but certainly a large portion of our remote learning will require online learning. And of course, as a part of the remote learning, we're talking about both synchronous and asynchronous learning. And so synchronous has to do with when we are all joining as a class, teachers, students together, and there's that real-time teacher on the screen, students on the screen, instruction happening. We'll also be using and relying on asynchronous learning while we're at home, which is when information is posted to Google Classroom, and there are instructions and there are assignments with resources and materials that students can access at a time that is convenient for that particular student. We will be using both of those models in our remote learning model. Another term we're using frequently is the term of cohorts, and that is the manner in which our students are grouped to provide safe access to our curriculum. We have 4 cohorts here at Pembroke High School this year, A through D, and we'll discuss each of those in a moment. Another term that perhaps is not discussed as much, and I want to clarify right now, is the term grade level clusters. And this is how our students are situated when they're in the building in school. And I'll talk more about how the grade level clusters are situated. But as part of a requirement from the Board of Health and a serious recommendation from the Department of Education, students, to minimize travel, they've asked us to use grade level clusters as often as we possibly can. And so we're doing that to the best extent possible here at the high school.
The full 90-minute Q&A can be found on the Titan TV YouTube page or on our Pembroke Educational channel on Comcast 14. Elizabeth, back to you.
Thanks, Erica. Welcome back to what will be a unique but hopefully fun and productive school year to all students and faculty. The Plymouth Center for Active Living has missed you and is thrilled to announce that limited indoor programming resumed on Monday, September 14th. Indoor activities resume with an afternoon class every weekday in various subjects like dance, yoga, watercolor painting, and more. There will be forms to be completed prior to entering the building. You will be screened for temperature, and masks must be worn at all times. If you don't have a mask, no problem. PCAL has one for you. They are excited to welcome you back and understand you may have questions. Call them at 508-830-4230. Spend your Monday nights this fall learning something new at the Pembroke Council on Aging. They're offering 2 fall semester courses, Mindfulness with Mary Beth Sheehan and Droning 101, taught by our own favorite UAV pilot, Tom Bolus. They call this group of classes Inspire, and whether it's focusing on being in the moment or soaring over our beautiful New England landscapes, you'll find lots of inspiration in either of these 8-week courses beginning on October 5th. Call 781-294-8220 to sign up for your next adventure. Is it true it rains diamonds in space? And are there clouds in space similar to the ones around our Earth? Ages 9 and up are invited to join Dr. Grant Tremblay and Katie Coppins in a free Zoom event on September 24th at 5 p.m. to tackle the toughest space questions you might have. Dr. Tremblay is an astrophysicist at Harvard and the Smithsonian and has hosted TV shows including How the Universe Works and Space's Deepest Secrets. Katie Coppins is an award-winning middle school teacher who will help bring the astrophysicist's space facts down to earth in an easy-to-understand way. Visit tumblehomebooks.org to register for this free, out-of-this-world event. We've been without live musical entertainment for too long, and the Duxbury Senior Center is helping to change that with September 24th's outdoor encore concert from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. Local musician Mark Davis will tickle the ivories during a grab-and-go lunch. Feel free to bring your own or order through their Mayflower Cafe. To register and learn more, send an email to programs@duxburycoa.com. Birds of prey are fierce hunters and play an ecological role in Massachusetts. Kids aged 7 to 11 are invited to Mass Audubon's Blue Hills Trailside Museum and Norman Smith Environmental Education Center's STEM program on these fascinating and intimidating creatures. They'll have a live virtual encounter with 2 of the Blue Hills birds of prey and have a chance to ask questions after the presentation. This virtual program is on September 25th at 3:30 and is hosted by the Stoughton Public Library. Contact Amy Dean at adean@ocln.org or call 781-344-2711 to register. The Museum of Science Boston welcomes Harvard and MIT Senior Research Associate Adrienne Gladden-Young for an evening examining the effects of systemic racism on the COVID-19 pandemic. Nearly a quarter of Americans who have died from complications of the coronavirus have been from the Black community, and this important symposium looks at how and why systemic racism has allowed the Black community to be disproportionately impacted and affected, and why it is necessary that the health establishment begins to engage Black scientists as leaders and problem solvers. Author of the Atlantic piece, Give Black Scientists a Place in This Fight, Gladden-Young is calling for the scientific community and public health world to confront these deep inequities and the racial divide of our nation head on. This event is free thanks to the Lee and Nile Albright Annual Symposium Fund and takes place on September 23rd at 7 p.m. To register, visit the museum's website. No, Don't Tell Me is the name of the poem you're about to hear from local poet Miriam O'Neal.
Hi, I'm Miriam O'Neal, and I live here in Plymouth. And today I'd like to read a poem for you from my newest collection, The Body Dialogues, which came out in January of 2020 from Lily Poetry Review Books. And today, as we're in September and the birds are migrating, I chose a poem that includes a reference to the migration of the woodcock. And the poem is called No, Don't Tell Me. Sounds come from the basement, shuffle of moccasins on cement, smuggled snap and unsnap of toolboxes, followed by a swift clink. My husband is fixing something. His instinct for disassembling and repair, a mystery I've read for years. In the kitchen, roasted beets cool on the pan. Later, I'll peel the charred skins away and chop the beets, and then, with enough alchemy and ingredients thrown in, there'll be soup, which we'll blow on to cool as we eat, tonight, while the wind goes on gusting, tearing the yellowwood's dead leaves off stems. All through the week just past, the hunter moon rose above the hill, a lantern glow in its shade of clouds, until it pulled free to join the stars, and Mars among them, close as it won't be again for 37 years. And hurtling south, the woodcock used the moon's light for their migration, navigated light and shadow, object and open air, by sound and sight as if in daylight, then folded each dawn like mud-colored bento boxes, asleep in alders or hollow logs, and at sunset rocketed back into action, the bayous and the live oaks pinging their brains. When a man, yes, a man, gets lost in the dark and does not stop to ask for directions, he forgets he is not a woodcock, traveling toward his winter haven, winging off planets and stars. He forgets the moon is more than light. The toolbox cover clanks shut. The smell of roasted vegetables has softened. Some things are fixed for now, as close and bright as Mars.
Thank you, Miriam. That was evocative and beautiful. And thank you for watching this episode of Local Matters, which is a production of the local scene of PAC TV. Visit our website at pactv.org/local scene for a complete list of resources mentioned in this show. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook to keep updated on the ways that we shine a light on you. From all of us at PAC TV, have a happy and safe week. We'll see you next time.